In music, the organ is a keyboard instrument of one or more pipe divisions, each played with its own keyboard, played either with the hands on a keyboard or with the feet using pedals. The organ is a relatively old musical instrument, dating from the time of Ctesibius of Alexandria, who invented the water organ. It was played throughout the ancient Greek and ancient Roman world, particularly during races and games. During the early medieval period it spread from the Byzantine Empire, where it continued to be used in secular and imperial court music, to Western Europe, where it gradually assumed a prominent place in the liturgy of the Catholic Church. Subsequently it re-emerged as a secular and recital instrument in the classical music tradition. Overview. Pipe organs use wind moving through pipes to produce sounds. Since the 16th century, pipe organs have used various materials for pipes, which can vary widely in timbre and volume. The pipes are divided into ranks and controlled by the use of hand stops and combination pistons. Although the keyboard is not expressive as on a piano and does not affect dynamics, some divisions may be enclosed in a swell box, allowing the dynamics to be controlled by shutters. Some organs are totally enclosed, meaning that all the divisions can be controlled by one set of shutters. Some special registers with free reed pipes are expressive. These instruments vary greatly in size, ranging from a cubic yard to a height reaching 5 floors, and are built in churches, synagogues, concert halls, and homes. Small organs are called positive or portative. Increasingly hybrid organs are appearing in which pipes are augmented with electronic additions. Great economies of space and cost are possible, especially when the lowest of the pipes can be replaced. Non-piped organs include the reed organ, a harmonium, which like the accordion and harmonica use air to excite free reeds. Electronic organs are digital organs, notably the Hammond organ, generate electronically produced sound through one or more loudspeakers. Mechanical organs include the barrel organ, water organ, and orchestrion. These are controlled by mechanical means such as pinned barrels or book music. Little barrel organs dispense with the hands of an organist, and bigger organs are powered in most cases by an organ grinder or today by other means, such as an electric motor. Pipe organs. The pipe organ is the grandest musical instrument in size and scope, and has existed in its current form since the 14th century. Along with the clock, it was considered one of the most complex human-made mechanical creations before the Industrial Revolution. Pipe organs range in size from a single short keyboard to huge instruments with over 10,000 pipes. A large modern organ typically has 3 or 4 keyboards with 5 octaves each, and a 2.5 octave pedal board. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart called the organ the king of instruments. Some of the biggest instruments have 64-foot pipes, and it sounds to an 8 Hz frequency fundamental tone. Perhaps the most distinctive feature is the ability to range from the slightest sound to the most powerful, impressive sonic discharge, which can be sustained in time indefinitely by the organist. For instance, the Wanamaker organ, located in Philadelphia, USA, has sonic resources comparable with 3 simultaneous symphony orchestras. Another interesting feature lies in its intrinsic polyphony approach. Each set of pipes can be played simultaneously with others, and the sounds mixed and interspersed in the environment, not in the instrument itself. Church organs. Most organs in Europe, the Americas and Australasia can be found in Christian churches. The introduction of church organs is traditionally attributed to Pope Vitalian in the 7th century, due to its simultaneous ability to provide a musical foundation below the vocal register, support in the vocal register, and increased brightness above the vocal register. The organ is ideally suited to accompany human voices, whether a congregation, a choir or a cantor or a soloist. Most services also include solo organ repertoire for independent performance rather than by way of accompaniment, often as a prelude at the beginning of the service and a postlude at the conclusion of the service. Today this organ may be a pipe organ, a digital or electronic organ that generates the sound with digital signal processing chips or a combination of pipes and electronics. It may be called a church organ, a classical organ, to differentiate it from the theatre organ, which is a different style of instrument. However, as classical organ repertoire was developed for the pipe organ and in turn influenced its development, the line between a church and a concert organ became harder to draw. Organs are also used to give recital concerts, called organ recitals. In the early 20th century, symphonic organs flourished in secular venues in the United States and UK, designed to replace symphony orchestras by playing transcriptions of orchestral pieces. Symphonic and orchestral organs largely fell out of favor as the Orgelbeugung took hold in the middle of the 20th century and organ builders began to look to historical models for inspiration in constructing new instruments. Today, modern builders construct organs in a variety of styles and for both secular and sacred applications. Chamber organs. A chamber organ is a small pipe organ, often with only one manual, and sometimes without separate pedal pipes, that is placed in a small room that this diminutive organ can fill with sound. It is often confined to chamber organ repertoire, as often the organs have too few voice capabilities to rival the grand pipe organs in the performance of the classics. The sound and touch are unique to the instrument, sounding nothing like a large organ with few stops drawn out, but rather much more intimate. They are usually tracker instruments, although the modern builders are often building electro-pneumatic chamber organs. Pre-Beethoven keyboard music may usually be as easily played on a chamber organ as on a piano or harpsichord, and a chamber organ is sometimes preferable to a harpsichord for continuo playing, as it is more suitable for producing a sustained tone. Theatre organs. The theatre organ, a cinema organ, was designed to accompany silent movies. Like a symphonic organ, it is made to replace an orchestra. However, it includes many more gadgets, such as percussion and special effects, to provide a more complete array of options to the theatre organist. Theatre organs tend not to take nearly as much space as standard organs, relying on extension and higher wind pressures to produce a greater variety of tone and larger volume of sound from fewer pipes. This extension is called unification, meaning that instead of one pipe for each key at all pitches, the higher octaves of pitch are achieved by merely adding 12 pipes to the top and or bottom of a given division. Assuming there are 61 keys on an organ manual, a classical organ has, for diapason stops at 8, 4 feet and 2 feet pitch, 183 pipes. The same chorus of diapasons on a theatre organ has only 85 pipes. Some ranks, such as the tibia clausa, with up to 97 pipes, allow the organist to draw stops at 16, 8, 4, 2, and mutations from a single rank of pipes. Unification gives a smaller instrument the capability of a much larger one, and works well for monophonic styles of playing. The sound is, however, thicker and more homogeneous than a classically designed organ, and is very often reliant on the use of tremulant, which has a depth greater than that usually found on a classical organ. Unification also allows pipe ranks to be played from more than one manual and the pedals. Other pipe organs. The bamboo organ, called bambusa sonora, is an experimental custom-made instrument designed by Hans van Koolwijck. The instrument has 100 flutes made of bamboo. reed organs. The pump organ, or harmonium, was the other main type of organ before the development of electronic organs. It generated its sounds using reeds similar to those of a piano accordion. Smaller, cheaper and more portable than the corresponding pipe instrument, these were widely used in smaller churches and in private homes. But the volume and tonal range was extremely limited, and they were generally limited to one or two manuals, pedal boards being extremely rare. Chord organs. The chord organ was invented by Lawrence Hammond, Indiana, 1950. It provided chord buttons for the left hand, similar to an accordion. Other reed organ manufacturers have also produced chord organs, most notably Magnus from 1958 to the late 1970s. Electronic organs. Since the 1930s, pipeless electric instruments have been available to produce similar sounds and perform similar roles to pipe organs. Many of these have been bought both by houses of worship and other potential pipe organ customers, and also by many musicians, both professional and amateur, for whom a pipe organ would not be a possibility. Far smaller and cheaper to buy than a corresponding pipe instrument, and in many cases portable. They have taken organ music into private homes and into dance bands and other new environments, and have almost completely replaced the reed organ. Hammond organs. The Hammond organ was the first successful electric organ, released in the 1930s. It used mechanical, rotating tone wheels to produce the sound waveforms. Its system of drawbars allowed for setting volumes for specific sounds, and it provided vibrato-like effects. The drawbars allow the player to choose volume levels of 0 to 8 for each of the members of the harmonic series, starting from 16. By emphasizing certain harmonics from the overtone series, desired sounds can be imitated. Generally, the older Hammond drawbar organs had only preamplifiers and were connected to an external, amplified speaker. The Leslie speaker, which rotates to create a distinctive tremolo, became the most popular. The three most popular models of Hammond organs were the consoles, the B3, C3, and A100. Inside all three models, the tone generators, drawbars, and keyboards were identical. The B3 cabinet stood on four legs, the C3 was an enclosed church model, and the A100 series had built-in amplifiers and speakers. In addition to these console models, Hammond also produced spinet models, which differed from the consoles in the size of keyboard and the absence of fold-back and scaling in the keyboard, making them cheaper to manufacture. Other features of the console organs, such as vibrato or percussion, were included in the spinets. All the spinet models featured a built-in amplifier and speaker. When used with the external amplified speaker, they sound similar to the console models. These smaller all-in-one organs were intended primarily for use in homes of very small churches. Though originally produced to replace organs in the church, the Hammond organ, especially the Model B3, became popular in jazz, particularly soul jazz, and in gospel music. Since these were the roots of rock and roll, the Hammond organ became a part of the rock and roll sound. It was widely used in rock and popular music during the 1960s and 1970s by bands like Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Procol Harum, Santana and Deep Purple. Its popularity resurged in pop music around 2000, in part due to the availability of clone wheel organs that were light enough for one person to carry. Other electronic organs. Frequency divider organs used oscillators instead of mechanical parts to make sound. These were even cheaper and more portable than the Hammond. They featured an ability to bend pitches. In the 1940s until the 1970s, small organs were sold that simplified traditional organ stops. These instruments can be considered the predecessor to modern portable keyboards, as they included one-touch chords, rhythm and accompaniment devices, and other electronically assisted gadgets. Lowry was the leading manufacturer of this type of organs in the smaller instruments. In the 60s and 70s, a type of simple, portable electronic organ called the combo organ was popular, especially with pop and rock bands, and was a signature sound in the pop music of the period, such as The Doors and Iron Butterfly. The most popular combo organs were manufactured by Farfisa and Vox, Conselma and Rogers, dominant in the market for larger instruments. Also made electronic organs that used separate oscillators for each note rather than frequency dividers, giving them a richer sound, closer to a pipe organ, due to the slight imperfections in tuning. Hybrids, starting in the early 20th century, incorporate a few ranks of pipes to produce some sounds, and use electronic circuits or digital samples for other sounds and to resolve borrowing collisions. Major manufacturers include Allen, Walker, Compton, Wix, Marshall and Amp, Ogletree, Phoenix, Macon Organs, Wyvern Organs and Rogers. Digital organs. The development of the integrated circuit enabled another revolution in electronic keyboard instruments. Digital organs sold since the 1970s utilize additive synthesis. Then sampling technology and physical modeling synthesis are also utilized to produce the sound. Virtual pipe organs use MIDI to access samples of real pipe organs stored on a computer, as opposed to digital organs that use DSP and process a hardware inside a console to produce the sounds or deliver the sound samples. Touchscreen monitors allows the user to control the virtual organ console. A traditional console and its physical stop and coupler controls is not required. In such a basic form, a virtual organ can be obtained at a much lower cost than other digital classical organs. Steam organ. The wind can also be created by using pressurized steam instead of air. The steam organ, or calliope, was invented in the United States in the 19th century. Calliopes usually have very loud and clean sound. Calliopes are used as outdoors instruments, and many have been built on wheeled platforms.